Alright guys, now what we will try to do is some head. So let me show you this portrait, and these portraits are the work of this artist. I'm not sure it's a female or male artist, I'm not sure. Asel Kuzureva от Kazakhstan, from Kazakhstan. It's very cool. This one is here. You see another face. From this artist, you can learn a lot. This one also is from him or her. So, all of those from this, they are from this artist. So, amazing stuff. And yeah, let's continue. So, which one we will do first? Because we can do at least two. But this one, I'm sure we have to do because it has profile view. It has front view, it has 3/4 view. It's amazing to do it. So let's do it. Let's go mesh, new sphere, and this one we will call Azaro head. We disable the visibility, then we go and we start our face. So what I notice here about this guy is that his face part from the eyebrows to the chin is a little bit too big, but it doesn't look super bad because it's kind of a stylized model. Stylized models are always very good for exercise because you see the face features which are realistic. They're real face features. Like let's analyze it a little bit. For example, like this guy here, like this one, this plane in here, which is so we have the orbit of the eye in here, and we have the cheekbone. It's going backwards like this, and all those things we have. But also we have this chewing muscle in here, as we know, which makes this kind of bump. So this is the bump, and that's why you have overall this. And also we have most of the time the fat part in here, and a little bit of a thick thing around the mouth in here. And all of those in a young guy, they can look like one kind of a shape. And you see how it works like this. It kind of makes this circle, and then the mouth circle will be inside it, inside this circle. So we have this. Of course, those shapes are not completely like I'm saying, a circle and circle. They're not exactly circles. But overall, you can see what I mean. But the main thing in the middle is to make kind of a flat shape here, although it's not completely flat. As we can see, we can make it a little bit curvy. So something a little bit different, very nice. The ear shape is not, it's a question mark again. But it's a little bit bump in here we have. It's not like going like this, question mark, like I would do most of the time, but it's a little bit more interesting. So it's good to have some differentiation, some different thing. So you see about the nose, you see the nose, the bump of the nose is around here. So this is the skull. It will be around here like this. And then the teeth will be here just behind the lips. The cheekbone, we established it. We established the orbit of the eye here. We have a little bit of a bump here in the forehead. We have the temporal line around here. Okay, the cheekbone is going up in here. This one is almost straight. So the upper point of the cheekbone is kind of a straight line. The lower is kind of more going down. The front part, these are the muscles that are connecting here, and we have this chewing muscle here. This is the jaw around here. Overall, yeah, this will be the lower jaw. So analyzing the concept, of course you don't have to analyze anything, that quick analyzation. You will analyze it while you sculpt it. You will just look at it a little bit, say, oh, okay, this, and stuff like this. Not analyze it, yeah. And also when you write in Google Acer Kurosawa, you will see that he or she has, or let's say this artist has also a YouTube channel with very low number of subscribers, less than 1,000, but has at least one speed sculpt in the channel, as you can see how he or she, or the artist, how the artist is sculpting, which is very cool. By the way, it's very rare that I cannot say the what kind of, is it a female or male, the artist, by the name. But in this case from Kazakhstan, I'm not sure how the names go there. So yeah, but it's an artist that we can learn from, either no matter the gender, you know. I always say the gender doesn't matter. Even transgender doesn't matter. What matters is your skill. In our field, I mean, the skill is the most important. So, sternocleido mastoid I do. You see how we have the Adam apple? Let's make it a little bit sharpening here. Sharp point, of course, smooth it a bit. It shouldn't be ultra visible or ultra thick or whatever. So the chin is kind of a thick and pretty big. It's not like a thin chin that I do. I usually do very thin chins. But of course, studying more will make my art a little bit more diversified. It will not be just one type of thing that I do. Of course, when I do something from concept, usually I can do it. But diversifying your head library is also a good thing. Again, I will do the ear. This time the shape of the ear will be a little bit different, but we'll see. Then disable the mask and continue working on this ear. Okay, bones. Now, let's see what we'll do here. Let's flatten this area, front area, a little bit from the sides. Let's flatten this. And you see how we have, also I will flatten here a little bit. And you see how we have this cheekbone, where it comes. We have this flat line until the muzzle of the mouth, which will be around here. And then we will have just digging until we reach the eyes. Digging upward. Because we will have this kind of an area here. I'm digging here. Here. Digging. Because, you see, it's kind of flat area here. So I have to dig it. Make sure I dig it well. And I'm a good digger. Not grave digger though. I'm a digger. Just digger. Now, let's make the nose. And let's flatten the nose a bit from the side. Although the nose will again have this kind of a triangular shape or pyramidal shape or whatever. So don't think that the nose will be something ultra different. Although this nose is not exactly realistic. It's a little bit stylized, but it looks very nice. And also for game models, many times people prefer stylized. So this, let's say, it's more into Fortnite style of character, which is very good, because if you kind of make this kind of characters, this style of characters, you can make them. For example, I can make this style of characters, I can make realistic characters, I can make all types of characters. So this is good for me because I can do whatever. I can even do realistic stuff. Kind of. Mostly game realism, because realistic stuff requires much more time, which I don't like to put in my stuff. So, from the front view, I noticed that we were working mostly from the side view, and from the front view, let's see it, we can notice that our guy is very wide into the ears, so I will just fix it. Also, the top of the head is a bit too much, you know, so I will just make it a bit better looking. And those eyebrows, they can go a little bit back. And also I will dig. I always dig here a little bit and here, but it's always, it's not always. I dig always when I'm doing kind of a male that has to look like a male model or something. But if you are doing something from concept, you have to see how exactly this is on your concept model. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble. Now, what I will do is I will increase a little bit the cheekbones in here, just to add a little bit of, meat on them. So you will notice that this artist is, if you watch the YouTube channel, you will notice that this artist is making everything from slightly more geometrical models. So more geometry he's putting, or she. The artist is putting more geometry in the beginning, which I told you is a good for experienced artist who knows what he is doing, who has done thousands of heads in his lifetime. And he knows exactly what he wants to achieve. But for us, a beginner artists, for example, I'm not exactly a beginner, but yeah, even I am starting always from pretty low resolution models. And I think this is the right way. So yeah, you can check out how your head will look. Of course, do an exercise. You have the time. I mean, you have to put the time. So why don't you do an exercise? Why don't you try bumping the resolution up to like 2 million polygons, for example, for one head, and try to work from there. If it will be easier for you to put the details on, or it will be easier with like now it's like 3000 polygons, and then we can go much lower at 41,000 and symmetrize it, and then continue. Is it gonna be better with 40,000 for one head to put the detail and stuff, and then continue from there to bump the resolution, or it will be better with a couple of millions in the beginning? I don't know. In my opinion, a couple of millions in the beginning would be a grave mistake, but especially for a beginner artist, for a very, very good digital sculptor who already knows his stuff, a couple of millions from the beginning would be not such a big challenge, especially if you come from the not digital sculpting, from the normal sculpting background. Then it will be even easy. But the good thing about digital sculpting is that you can start from a low resolution, not do too much detail in the beginning, just not go into too much detail, which is a good thing. And lower resolution will not allow you to go into detail, because you cannot. The resolution is low, you cannot go into high detail. Just impossible. You can try, but you will not be able to. So you're restraining yourself basically from going into high resolution. I'm talking about this stuff while I'm working, because you already know what I'm doing. You see our model, and you see what we have to do. So I don't have to speak too much about those things. That already we know most of the things already. We know that the cheekbones have to be a little bit more protruding than the back where the ear is. And then we might have a little bit more meat in here in this model, because he has a huge jaw, and the jaw shape, as I told you, this square jaw is coming from this chewing muscle mostly. The chewing muscle is making the shape here, that's why it's here, like this. And from the side view, we'll have this kind of a shape in here. Which, by the way, from the side view, let's see. Yeah, it's there, but it's also coming a bit forward here. It's like a curve a little bit, but the bottom is a bit more smooth. And here we can have a bit more muscle. It's pretty cool. And this curve is going here, and here we will have the inner portion of the eye socket. Yeah, and the eye socket will also come in here, but it's kind of visible. I mean, you can touch it, and we can kind of make that it's there, but be careful, don't just do it, because it will look like a skull, and we have a human after all, basically. So I will make this, you see, on the side of the eye, we have a little bit of a fat place, this above the upper eyelid, this one, this here, is fat pad. It's only on this side. It's in the inner portion, in here, it's a bone. If you touch it, it's a bone in there, in the inner side in here. But in the outer side, it's kind of a... some people have it more, some people have it less, but it's a little bit of a fat pad. In my case, I don't have too much of it. But the overall thing here is pretty bony in my case. But in most cases, you have it. So just do a little bit. On a male, don't do it too much. On a female, should be a little bit too much. So it will look more femaleish. But you will see that. You notice the forehead, how I did it? I did it, the temporal lines, those are the temporal lines. And of course, let me see myself. Okay, yeah. They're a little bit too, they're coming into an angle. I will just pull them a little bit on the side. And now we have kind of nice temporal lines. We are okay with that. We have to be careful with those temporal lines. Don't make them too big on the female. On the female, they shouldn't exist in most females. They are not, they are there, they have them, but they're not that visible. So we shouldn't push our luck by making them huge in the female. So here I will push our luck with the ear, because we have to make the ear, basically. And again, the question, I will push this area, this middle area, I will push it in. And the overall question mark part of the ear, which is the outer part, is spiraling inward here. And we will have this kind of thingy going on. Of course, I don't have too much resolution. I don't want to remesh yet. I will remesh a little bit later. And we will continue fixing the ears. But for now, I'm just giving them just the proper form, the proper shape that will help me afterwards to achieve the best possible result. Now it looks relatively fine. And as I told you, it's a very good thing to look at other people's drawing, because you see, you can even make the habit to make a bust, which means that you probably could make not only the head and the neck, but also a little bit of the body, which is great in this. You see how nice it looks with a little bit of a body. With only a neck, it also looks kind of cool. If it's only a head, it will not look cool. That's definitely true, but yeah. And we see the sternocleidomastoid here, which is coming like this, and here. And this is one of his heads connecting to the sternum, which is a bone in here. All the ribs are connected to the sternum, almost all. Yeah, almost all, because the most bottom ribs, they're kind of not exactly connected to the sternum. They're connected, but with cartilage. They're not connected with the... But they're not... No rib is connected directly to the sternum. There is always cartilage between them, I think. Whatever, doesn't matter. Now, here also the sternocleidomastoid. And when I'm talking about the sternum, because it's sternocleido, because this is a clavicle here, and here, the clavicle. So it's connected to the sternum. It's connected, one part is connected to the clavicle, and the other part is connected to the back of the skull here, which is the mastoid process of something. So it's sternocleidomastoid. Okay, yeah, I think we're doing relatively fine. We can make a little bit of a longer neck. This is a sign of a younger person. The longer neck, more like straight neck like this, younger person. If it's like more like this, and its straps are starting from the ears down like this, it probably is an older person, or it's a very muscular person. And sometimes the sulk, for example, will be something like this, you know. It's here. From the front view, I'm staying. So I'm digging this. It's relatively fine. Let's go and see how the eyes look. So we have the upper eyelids pretty well defined. We have the lower eyelids pretty well defined, and we have almost everything. So let's do it now. Since we don't have too much geometry now, I will do it as much as I can. So upper eyelids, just below this crease. So we have the crease above the upper eyelids, then we have the upper eyelids. Yeah, I know it's a little bit complicated, but when you do it a few hundred times, you probably will start to get it. But in the beginning, it's always hard. I know because I've been there. And yeah, you have the lower eyelid too, and in between you have your eye. Of course, we will not make a real eye, although I already showed you. But let's, in this case, make one eye. So I will make a sphere. I will make it smaller, a lot smaller, much smaller. And the eye will be around this size, I guess. Yes. Let's see, by the way. Let's see. So I press 3, no, I press 1, and I go from the front mode. And then I will put this in here. For example, this will be the width of our head. Basically the best width of our head. And let's Shift D and move it on the x-axis and put it here. And now both of them, Shift D and move it on the x-axis. Okay, now Shift D and move it on the x-axis. And let's move it on the x-axis again. Because I released it. Now, you see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6, which is not good. So it has to be smaller. Yeah, it has to be even smaller, the eyeball. So I will make it, because I told you it's 6.5 times it goes to the head. Now it's 6. Let's not make it too small. Let's use it like this. So this will be the size of your eyeball. Control I, X, and delete the faces, the other faces. Then select this one and press Home, and then G to move it. So this will be the size of your eyeball. You see, it's much smaller even than the nose width. And I will put it, as I said, a little bit more upward. You see, it's a little bit up. It's not in the middle like this. It's a little bit more up. And it should be there. Alright, so this is one eye, and the other eye, of course, we will go and put it with mirror. It's easier. With mirror, it's easier. And also, while we are here, right-click Shade Smooth, because eyes have to be smooth, and we will see if this will be good for our eye, for our character. Because, for example, the eyes now could be a little bit closer together, although they seem to be okay, and I think they are, but we'll see. But this, I think, so far is coming out to be our best model, because we are getting better first, and then the second thing is that we are looking from a very nicely chewed up and made model. What I mean by chewed up is that the artist has made the artistic decisions, and we are seeing them, but they are already kind of established, and we are just grabbing them from there. So we don't have to think too much about how to stylize the nose, because it is already a little bit stylized. So definitely a very, very good exercise for everybody. This is very good exercise. Always very good exercise to make models based on very good other character models. Just for exercise, of course. And of course, you can always put it in your ArtStation if it becomes very nice. You can put it in your ArtStation. You can give the link in the description to the original art and say this is a fan art of this artist, for example. Nobody will argue. I mean, nobody will make any problems with that. Okay, now we have kind of nice thing. Let's make the mouth. Let's try to make the mouth. The mouth can ruin our model, or it can make it better. We will see. And around the mouth we have a lot of things going on. So let's make it, and then we'll make the things around the mouth. So for the mouth, I always start with a little push with the something sharp brush, and then just make this M kind of a shape. And then I will smooth just the corners of the lower lip, the corners only, and the upper lip also I will kind of give it a little bit of a push. And then with the grab brush, I will grab the upper lip and just push it upwards, not so much forward, but upward. And you can see you have to put the mouth a little bit more down. So I will just dial it down a bit. And then here, I will just try to fix it. Maybe give it a little bit more sharpness. And we don't have too much, as you probably can see, geometry. But we will fix it. We will do it, no problem. Okay, it looks fine. Now the lower lip, we can make a little bit like this. And then the lower lip, we should make it a little bit thicker. But since we don't have enough geometry right now, we'll make it thicker a little bit later. First, I like to add more fat in this area. Is it fat or is it just fantasy? I don't know. Is this the real fat? Is this just fantasy? Yeah, I have to restrain myself of singing in the courses. Because in my YouTube channel I sing a lot. But not a lot. Yeah, it's not a lot. But it's kind of... I tend to sing a little bit sometimes. Because I know that I'm singing right or correct most of the time. It's not that I have a very good voice or for singing or kind of powerful voice or some kind of a voice that can get up and low. I can get very low, but not as low as some people. And I can get not too much high because my voice is mostly in the lower register. Mostly like this, you know, bass. Doom, 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 bass, 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 bass. Ball, baseball. Now, it doesn't look like our guy from the concept though. It looks more, more old. But we have to just fill those areas here a little bit where the muscles are. And then it will become, our guy will become a bit not so old. Then we have to make eyebrows at some point. Yeah. And here below the mouth, we can make this kind of a fat patches, which will usually give us a nice result. So you will see always in some character artist, you will always see his touch. And in this artist, the touch is making this kind of a fat areas below the lower lip. But it's fine. And also here. Just fat areas. Now, let's increase the resolution a lot. And see what it will bring us to. Yeah, now it's looking a little bit younger because we have smoother face. And if we make the mouth right, so from here we make it up, we make it like this, very much smooth it, and just make it correctly. And the lip itself, the upper lip, not so much straight, not so much a plane, but inflated plane, and the lower lip also inflated, not plain, it's just inflated stuff. It has to be the lower lip. And then we'll achieve, maybe, sometimes, not a bad result. I will add a little bit more meat in here, because you see the lower lip, let me draw it to a little bit, it will be easier for you to understand. So the lower lip is starting here, for example, and this is the end of it, you know, the corner of the lower lip. And then it has something like a straight line a bit, which is going like thinner and thinner. And then we have this kind of a, you know, the bulge of the lip itself, like this. And here again we will have this kind of a straight line. You will notice that if you look lips from up close, you will notice that more or less in some people. That's why we are pushing a little bit here and we're making this. But those are details. I mean, the most important thing is to make the overall shape nice of the skull, of the head, around the cheekbones, to make sure you have a skull below. You see, we have a skull now below it. It's not a skullless, we may say. Although our guy is with not so full lips, and he looks a little bit with thin lips and stuff. But still, he doesn't look super bad. Maybe his eyes should be a little bit bigger and a little bit further apart. And probably it will be fine. So I'm making them further apart. Symmetrize we don't want now. I will go and move this a bit sideways, and still, I mean, the other one is mirrored, so it will move with it, whatever it has to go. Yeah. Let's see 3/4. Okay, it's not exactly the same as we can see. Probably the nose should go a bit forward. Not so much backward that I do it. I usually do it a lot backwards. But this is my style. So different styles. What else? Those can be sharper. So I'll sharpen them with some pinch brush. Then here we will have this kind of thing on the nose. So the nostrils, as you see, they don't just end here. They continue inward like a little bit. And I did them the same. So be careful with the nostrils, be careful with the overall nose, because it's not that simple. That's what I will say. It's not that simple. The nose, many people are also underestimating the ears and the nose also. The nose is not to be underestimated. You always have to overestimate the nose. Don't underestimate it. It will be bad for us all. Maybe my guy looks a little bit older, also because he doesn't have any hair. The guy in our concept is not having hair, but it has something like hairline and a little bit like he has a short haircut, very short. But our guy is mostly, without hair. So we'll see where this will take us. But I'm very glad we did this model. Maybe here I pushed it a little bit too much. I will make it a bit more, Okay, this looks fine. Maybe this can be a little bit more vague in here. Not so pronounced, okay. Here I can make a little bit of a touch and then smooth it. And it's very, very slightly visible. Okay, maybe we can make it more visible and then smooth it. When we have made something and then smooth it, it could be a little bit there, but not so much there. But it's kind of visible, so that's why I'm trying to do it, For the eyelids, we have to do a little bit more because they are awkward. Yeah, 33 minutes, I think. For this, I made it kind of quick. But yeah, it's better for you because you don't lose any time. But of course I suggest you pause the video, you do your own thing a little bit, then you turn on the video again and you do it again with me. There are people, by the way, who can work with me even when I'm streaming, where I'm extremely fast. I'm doing a whole character for like an hour and a half in my stream, with legs and fingers and stuff like this. So yeah, there are people who can relatively follow, of course, not too much, but into an extent they can follow. Let's analyze a little bit the eyelids. They have to be thick, as I'm making them. I mean, see how thick they are, and it's a good idea to be thick. I mean, let me show you. So this is the thickness of the eyelid. It has to be consistent. The same thickness here, 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 and here. The same. And then it has to be pretty thick. And then we have to go down and back. So this plane is pointing down. It's pointing down and forward. It's not pointing only forward, but it's down and forward. So it's from the side view, it will be upper eyelid, eye, lower eyelid, and it's pointing down, a little area pointing down, and then we'll have the fat here, which will point probably up. Most of the time this points up, so it points like this, and then we'll have the other kind of things, and the eye will be like this. Okay, so yeah, and the upper eyelid, as I told you, crease above it, and then some thickness, it depends on your model, and then again thickness pretty big, similar or the same in all over, close to the eye. I mean, from the eye to the end of the eyelid, like this, to the corner of the eyelid, I mean, this corner, if we can say, this thickness on the top and the bottom has to be same. You see, mine is not, here is a little bit thicker, so I will just pull this and push this. But overall, I want very thick eyelids. Why? Maybe the lower shouldn't be as thick that I make it, maybe a little bit thinner. Why so thick? Because this way they will kind of throw shadow, which is a good thing. To throw a little bit of a shadow over the model. If we put the shadow on, for example, and there will be a shadow, a big shadow, which it's just how we made it, and the sculptors also made it like this, the traditional ones, I mean. So I think it's a good idea to do it. If you don't do it, it's okay. For the ear, I think we have made the ear pretty well, but this particular thingy here, it's not that sharp. In many people, it's not that sharp. It's just a little bit visible like this. Here we'll make it as the concept goes. And of course, it's not a concept, it's a 3D model, but I'm calling it a concept because I'm working from it. I'm learning from it. I am just, trying to repeat it a little bit. And for me, it's a concept. I'm treating it as a concept. And don't worry if you don't achieve likeness to the concept like I did. I didn't achieve the likeness with the concept. This is what I'm saying. My model is not looking like the concept at all. Why? There are certain things probably around the eyes. Maybe he has a little bit more of a fat pads here above the eye. Maybe some of the proportions are a little bit wrong in my model. Maybe, I'm not sure. Also, we are seeing it from below a little bit like this. And the nose probably is not exactly the same. There could be a lot of things, but the idea is that we have something that looks nice, and that's the main thing. That's the main idea. To kind of understand some forms, to try to memorize some forms, to put them in use later, to have them in our memory bank. I can inflate even here a little bit. Yeah, when I inflate, he becomes instantly younger. Insta younger. Okay, I can push here the corners like this. But we don't have to make it complete the same. The idea is to just make an hour exercise, and our exercise is pretty cool. And our next hit, most likely, no, we can of course always make some eyebrows, which in this case will be something like this. This will be our eyebrows. And with eyebrows he looks a little bit better. And if we kind of make a hairline, he will look even more like the concept. But we don't completely need that. We can even go here and with some blackness, just to do this. Not that we need it. And the eyebrows. Now it's just a question of putting detail on our model at some point. the thing is that do we have to? It depends. If you want to, of course, if you feel like a pleasure of putting details. My idea is to teach you the main forms, and the details are not as important in my opinion. They are easy to put, they just require time. The most important thing is the base. If you don't have the base, you don't have anything. You're just ruined. But, opinions. Everybody has one. They're like assholes. Everybody has one. Alright, this looks pretty nice as a head. And the next one, maybe the ears shouldn't be that elfish. Although if we want to make an elf, of course, they can be elfish. But in our case, we are not making elf yet. It's easy to make an elf, by the way. With elf ears, I mean. It's not very hard. So this is cool. I kind of dig it. Maybe the nose is a little bit too long, but it looks really fine. So we will leave it like this. And we continue on the next one, which will be more realistic probably. And then maybe we can try to do some female heads. And then we should do some feedback and we will end this course most likely. So stay tuned, we will return.